In tonight's other headlines, members of the California National Guard are in Oregon over the objections of California Governor Gavin Newsom. This comes after a federal judge temporarily blocked President Trump's deployment of the Oregon National Guard to Portland. In a social media post, Newsom said the president deployed his state's National Guard and that he would go to court to try to stop it. Mr. Trump said that using the National Guard in big cities will eliminate crime.
Washington, D.C. went from a hellhole to a safe place. It took 12 days to solve the problem, 12 days. And we're going to do that in Chicago. We're going to do that in Portland.
In the case of Chicago, Mr. Trump said he was acting because local officials aren't doing anything. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat, said he was presented with an ultimatum and called the plan to federalize 300 National Guard members a manufactured performance. Tensions in Chicago escalated Saturday when a federal agent shot and wounded a woman on the city's southwest side. DHS officials say the woman was armed and rammed a law enforcement vehicle. Russia launched drones, missiles, and bombs across Ukraine overnight, killing 5 people, including a 15-year-old. Parts of Lviv in the west, which was once considered a haven from fighting, were set ablaze. The attack left some areas without power. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said 9 regions were targeted and civilian infrastructure was deliberately hit. In a video released today, Russian President Vladimir Putin warned that if the United States supplies Ukraine with long-range missiles, it would signal a new stage of escalation and damage bilateral ties. In Syria today, a milestone, the first election since the fall of longtime autocratic leader Bashar al-Assad. It was nearly a year ago that he was toppled by a swift rebel-led offensive. Syrians didn't vote directly in today's elections. Instead, electoral committees select representatives for 2/3 of the parliament, and the interim president will appoint the rest. Speaker Mike Johnson says the House won't be back in session until the Senate passes the spending bill to end the government shutdown, which heads into a 6th day tomorrow. Senate Democrats say they won't support the bill unless Republicans reverse Medicaid cuts and extend subsidies to help low- and middle-income earners pay health care premiums under the Affordable Care Act. Today, the president said that the entire Obamacare program is a disaster and needs to be fixed. White House officials still threaten to fire federal workers if the shutdown is prolonged.
If the president decides that the negotiations are absolutely going nowhere, then there will start to be layoffs. But I think that everybody's still hopeful that when we get a fresh start at the beginning of the week, that we can get the Democrats to see that it's just common sense to avoid layoffs like that.
Before the shutdown, the Congressional Budget Office estimated that furloughed federal workers could lose a total of $400 million a day in pay. Still to come on PBS News Weekend, a new documentary on the school librarians fighting against escalating book bans. And for Hispanic Heritage Month, we highlight one of the biggest musical performances in pop culture, Bad Bunny.
This is PBS News Weekend from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington, home of the PBS NewsHour, weeknights on PBS.